Sup, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. And if you're new here, on Fridays we do things a little bit different. I try to cover more viewer-requested stories we were going to include, but for time's sake, to try and get out even remotely on time, we had to cut. So with that said, let's just jump into it. And the first thing I want to talk about today is a very strange update around the Parkland, Florida shooting. And so one of the things we mentioned yesterday is that there were reports that the shooter in this school shooting was actually connected to a white nationalist organization, an organization called Republic of Florida. It was all over the place. The Associated Press tweeting, breaking, leader of white nationalist group has confirmed suspect in Florida school shooting was member of his organization. And that person they're talking about is a guy by the name of Jordan Jarrett. According to reports, he gave statements to multiple media outlets. We also saw reports that there were first-hand confirmations from former students that he was a part of this organization. So we had that, but then we got new information. Lieutenant Grady Jordan, who is a spokesperson for the Leon County Sheriff's Office in Tallahassee, he said that his office has arrested militia leader Jordan Jarrett at least 4 times since January 2014. They've been monitoring the group's membership, saying he has very solid information on the group. There's no known ties that we have that we can connect the shooter with the group. So now we have law enforcement saying we're very knowledgeable of this group, we've been monitoring them, but we can't confirm any connection as of right now. So the question becomes, how can we have Jordan Jarrett doing all of these interviews, and we have one part of the story, and then we're supposedly getting confirmation that former students are saying, yes, he was a part of the organization. Well, according to new reports, Jordan Jarrett is now walking back his claims. An account attributed to Jordan Jarrett on the social network Gab, writing, "Those of you calling me a fake white nationalist, go fuck yourselves. There was a legit misunderstanding because we have multiple people named in ROF, and I got a bunch of conflicting information, and I have not slept for like 2 days. And so when they, and also by the way, if you ever see something with 3 parentheses, they're talking about Jewish people, call me up and ask me yes or no questions, it's easy for them to misrepresent what I say. Are you really going to blame me for the lying Jew media? We know they are liars, fuck them." And as far as the other sources from ABC News, there are also reports that maybe that was just people on 4chan fucking with ABC News. So at least for this part of the story, it looks like it's a mixture of people that were trying to fuck with the media, as well as someone that either was confused or was just purposefully lying. Also, it appears that the reason journalists even reached out to Jordan in the first place, it was because the Anti-Defamation League saw conversations on 4chan. But his explanation really doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to find out a white nationalist was a fucking idiot. Either in that he was actually confused, which once again really does seem like a lie because there are several statements that he reportedly gave to several media outlets, or that he was a fucking idiot and that he thought this was a great way to get promotion for his organization or for himself, which actually, based off of other reporting from his past, it does seem like he would do anything to get some attention, although that still feels weird because you would think connecting a mass murderer to yourself or your organization would be bad news. Even with Jordan saying, we didn't say to do this, we don't support this, still looks bad. But main point, I am still incredibly skeptical of all information around this specific aspect of the story, but I felt it incredibly important to update you guys because, as I've stated before, I will always try to make sure the information I get in front of you is as accurate as possible, and when we come across things that it turns out the reporting was bad or it was incorrect or it was part of a hoax, I want to always make sure we update, clarify, and correct that. And still, for some reason this morning, there are some outlets still running with the story despite the new information that has since come out. Now, with that said, I think it's incredibly important that we talk about the other updates around this story, because while the Republic of Florida angle, the Jordan Jarrett angle, is actually an important part of the story now because it shows the potential pitfalls in reporting, the people knowingly trying to mislead the media and thus the public. Ultimately, the big reason why it was being reported on in the first place is to answer the question of why, and also who knew. Also, why did this happen? Could this have been stopped? Well, according to a new FBI statement that came out today, maybe. The FBI released a statement today saying, on January 5th, 2018, a person close to the shooter contacted the FBI's public access line tip line to report concerns about him. The caller provided information about the shooter's gun ownership, desire to kill people, erratic behavior, and disturbing social media posts, as well as the potential of him conducting a school shooting. Under established protocols, the information provided by the caller should have been assessed as a potential threat to life. The information then should have been forwarded to the FBI Miami field office, where appropriate investigative steps would have been taken. We have determined that these protocols were not followed for the information received by the PAL on January 5th. The information was not provided to the Miami field office, and no further investigation was conducted at that time. FBI Director Christopher Wray saying, "We are still investigating the facts. I am committed to getting to the bottom of what happened in this particular matter, as well as reviewing our processes for responding to information that we receive from the public. It's up to all Americans to be vigilant, and when members of the public contact us with concerns, we must act properly and quickly. We have spoken with victims and families and deeply regret the additional pain this causes all those affected by this horrific tragedy. All all of the men and women of the FBI are dedicated to keeping the American people safe and are relentlessly committed to improving all that we do and how we do it. And so with this new information, I want to pass the question off to you. What do you feel about this? What are you thinking? Then in your daily outrage news, we had people angry at YouTube over this tweet reading, "Roses are red, violets are blue, subscribe to Black creators." And in response to this, there were people supporting it, retweeting it, people saying, yes, this is great, the promotion of people subscribing to channels for an underrepresented community. Awesome, but you also had a lot of people saying this is racist, it's ridiculous, some saying it's pandering, people saying, why are you telling people to subscribe to someone because of the color of their skin? And some of the people annoyed by this tweet included Black YouTube creators like Sky Williams. Sky essentially calling bullshit, tweeting, "I am a Black creator. When I made a video discussing Black issues, you flagged it, claimed I was, quote, inciting racism against people of color, struck my channel and took everything from me. Then your staff pretended to care by setting up a meeting that was due 4 months ago. Delete this." Adding, "You don't care about Black creators. You care about docile Black people who see a dumbass tweet like this and think it actually means something. You're creating your own Black friends so you can prove you're not racist at dinner parties. Delete this. We Black creators are fucking fantastic with or without you and your soapbox. Don't tell people to fucking sub to me because I'm Black. I want people to sub to me because I'm a fucking excellent content creator. This shows you don't even watch Black creators. Delete this." Also hitting a note that a lot of other content creators hit as well, tweeting, "Subscribe to creators who make you laugh, who make you experience emotion, who value you as a fan, who challenges your way of thinking, who helps you cope when things get rough, who you relate to, who inspires you, and none of the aforementioned reasons are specific to race." Now, as far as my opinion on this, I kind of just didn't care. I just saw this as YouTube continuing their Black History Month push. I mean, the header on their Twitter page is hashtag Create Black History. Their bio, "Subscribe to Black creators, check the link in our profile for a new featured channel every day this month." And just in general, I've always looked at YouTube as kind of one of those organizations that seems to be competing in the woke Olympics, and they're always going for gold. And the cynical part of my brain thinks that the person that thought of this campaign feels like Khaleesi in that one memed scene. Also, from a marketing standpoint, I think you'd get a lot less pushback if you just featured creators and you didn't say just subscribe to this creator because of the color of their skin. One, racial groups already do that, especially if they're underrepresented in mainstream media. I mean, just look at the Asian community on YouTube. It is thriving. It's just gonna happen naturally. So two, YouTube saying do it for this specific reason, it's not really gonna be helpful. But I also do understand why some people may be bothered by this, especially the Sky Williamses of the world. If I was in his position, I would 100% see this as an empty fake gesture. But that said, I do want to pass the question off to you. What is your takeaway from this whole situation? I'd love to know your thoughts in those comments down below. But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome, brought to you by ShopDeFranco.com. Shop DeFranco, of course, the place to get all your merch that helps support the show, your shirts, your hoodies, your pillows, your whatever. We also just launched these 2 new designs in the past week. Both I think are important life motto shirts. You have the Stay Humble, Hustle Hard shirt and the Your Only Limit Is You shirt and hoodie. So if you want to snag one or some of the new ones or an old design like the sports or the DeFranco shirt, link down below, ShopDeFranco.com. The first bit of awesome we got is a new trailer for Ready Player One. Then I didn't get to mention it yesterday, but we got a sneak peek at The Incredibles 2. We had Hannibal Buress on Hot Ones. Then a movie that I'm excited about because it seems really just unique is Uncle Drew. And I don't want to ruin it for you. You watch the trailer. Then we got a brand new trailer for Pacific Rim Uprising. Then I had a lot of requests of people asking me to talk about this Boston Dynamics video. And it's simple enough. The video shows us their Spot Mini robot. Another Spot Mini with a Claw of Doom grabs the door handle, opens the door, and keeps it open for its buddy. And then they both pass through the door, potentially to kill a human being, because the next step for these robots is obviously to take over humankind. And you know, my response to this video is, I think it's awesome. I showed this to a lot of people and they were freaked out, but this is fantastic. I mean, sure, it's easy to get freaked out when you see this and then you watch Metalhead from this season of Black Mirror, yeah. But we've got, what, like 50 years before we get to that point. Between now and utter destruction, there's gonna be a lot of ways to use these things for convenience. But that said, I do pass the question off to you. What did you feel when you first saw this? And also, are you excited or freaked out by it? I'd love to know where you're at. And if you wanna see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. Then let's talk about South Africa's President Jacob Zuma, who has stepped down this week. To give you some background, he's been in power for 9 years out of a 10-year term. Zuma has been a long-time member of the African National Congress Party, ANC. He's very well known for being charismatic. He's a huge populist. He's been very active in almost all aspects of his party. From the militant wing in the early 60s, which eventually led with him serving on Robben Island with Nelson Mandela, all the way to become intelligence chief of the ANC under Mandela. From there, he eventually became the deputy president of South Africa, but then lost the position in 2005 after being implicated in a fraud trial. Those fraud charges would end up being dropped, and just 2 weeks after, Zuma was elected president in 2009. And so with his 9 years, he's actually the longest serving president in the country so far. Now, since the end of apartheid, South Africa has only elected ANC members, and many have had had scandals, but not quite like Zuma. Aside from the 2005 fraud charges, there were a bunch of other charges and allegations. In 2006, he was charged and eventually acquitted of raping a family friend. During his presidency, the state ombudsman said that $20 million in security upgrades to his home were excessive and obscene. There's also been controversy that his government was essentially pay to play. One of the prominent examples is the Gupta family. They're wealthy Indian immigrants. There we saw emails linked that implicated that the Guptas were actually using Zuma to help them get political appointees and better contracts for their businesses. And actually just this week, police raided their residence, which actually led to concerns that there was more damning evidence that would be popping up soon against Zuma. But actually one of the biggest things to happen came in October of 2017, because that's actually when the Supreme Court ruled that Zuma would need to face corruption charges because of a sketchy arms deal around 2 decades ago. And from this, it seemed many people in the ANC just had enough with Zuma. And in fact, in November of 2017, they tried to vote him out of office. The president in South Africa is elected more like a prime minister. The parties vote for him into office, not the people. Now that said, Zuma ended up surviving that vote, but just barely. We then saw a rival faction in the ANC push forward Cyril Ramaphosa as the new head of the ANC. Cyril also has a long history with the party. He's actually seen as the real protege of Mandela by many. The ANC gave an ultimatum to Zuma: step down or we are going to vote you out of office. And so Wednesday, he announced his resignation in a speech, saying no life should be lost in my name, and also the ANC should never be divided in my name. I have therefore come to the decision to resign as president of the republic with immediate effect. Even though I disagree with the decision of the leadership of my organization, I have always been a disciplined member of the ANC. As I leave, I will continue to serve the people of South Africa as well as the ANC, the organization I have served all my life. And after his resignation, the parliament broke out into song and dance. And seemingly the reaction wasn't just from his opposition. One analyst for the BBC in South Africa saying this: the resignation of President Jacob Zuma marks the end of an era of one corruption allegation after another, an era of divisions, infighting, and public squabbles. There are many people who are celebrating now, and not just from the opposition benches. Also to the question of, well, who will be president now? Well, if you've been paying attention, it should come as no shock: Cyril Ramaphosa. He's already been sworn in, and right now things are looking hopeful, although South Africa, of course, has a long road ahead of it. But just looking at the reaction in general, it looks like people are celebrating this change and very hopeful. Then for those of you that thought that maybe DACA would be handled this week, nope. Yesterday, all 4 immigration bills that have been worked on failed. Chris Coons and John McCain's bill failed 52-47. The Toomey Amendment failed 54-45. The Susan Collins, Chuck Schumer Common Sense Plan failed 54-45. And the Grassley bill that President Trump tweeted that if Dems were serious about DACA, they would vote for failed 39-60. Now the other bills were expected to fail, but the one that had the most hope was the bipartisan bill, the ones with Collins and Schumer. And things actually looked pretty promising until Trump threatened to veto the bill. On Twitter, calling it a total catastrophe, saying it's a vote against law enforcement and a vote for open borders. Now, as far as what happens now, I have no idea, because so much time has seemingly passed with so many people focusing on this issue, and we are nowhere closer to striking a deal. And ultimately, we're looking at a situation where every solution proposed failed. No one really knows what comes next. Everyone's going on a vacation, and DACA recipients have no long-term protection. But ultimately, we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens next. And that's where I'm going to end today's show. And remember, if you liked this video, you like what I'm trying to do on this channel, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss these daily weekday videos, which actually, if you did miss yesterday's show, you wanna catch up, click or tap right there to watch that. Or if you need something lighter, we posted a brand new behind-the-scenes vlog right here. You can click or tap right there to watch that. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you Monday.